Miguel Guzman's deep-seated love for dogs was ingrained in him from his upbringing in a household filled with these lovable furry companions. He treasured their lively spirits and unwavering affection, noting that with dogs, one always knew where they stood. As Miguel grew older and moved out of his family home, the desire to have a canine companion of his own began to grow. Confident in his ability to provide love and care, he visited a shelter and was drawn to a beautiful young puppy named Capitan, a charming German shepherd. Miguel couldn't resist Capitan's enchanting large eyes and the exuberant wag of his tail when he picked him up. The shelter staff jokingly remarked that the puppy had already chosen his new owner. Miguel happily agreed, promptly adopting the delightful puppy. Their bond blossomed as they shared adventures and grew together. They enjoyed leisurely strolls through the streets to stay active and visited the park, where Capitan gleefully played with sticks, balls, and other dogs, delighting in playful chases. After his energetic play, Capitan would rest his tired head on Miguel's lap as they sat together on a park bench, deepening their companionship. Miguel's bond with Capitan was deep and meaningful, providing him with solace and companionship in his apartment. He often found greater comfort in the company of dogs than in people, making Capitan's presence by his side a source of immense joy. However, their lives took a somber turn when Miguel fell ill. Concealing his battle with throat cancer and with only a few weeks to live, Miguel remained determined to ensure Capitan's happiness and well-being. Despite his pain, Miguel continued to shower Capitan with love and affection, cherishing their moments together watching TV as Capitan faithfully sat by his side. Sadly, Miguel passed away peacefully in his apartment, with Capitan asleep on his knees. Capitan's presence brought comfort to Miguel's grieving parents, knowing that their son had his loyal companion by his side in his final moments. After Miguel's passing, Capitan's behavior changed noticeably. Adjusting to life at Miguel's family home, Capitan exhibited signs of loneliness and longing for the affection he had received from Miguel. His behavior, which strayed from his usual demeanor, raised concerns about his well-being and adjustment to his new environment. Struggling to find solace, Capitan's appetite dwindled, and a profound sadness consumed him in the wake of Miguel's passing. As Miguel's family grappled with their grief, Capitan mourned the loss of his beloved owner and closest companion. Overwhelmed by his emotions, Capitan made a surprising decision. He ran away. Seizing the opportunity when the door opened, Capitan darted down the street, leaving Miguel's family too distraught to immediately chase after him. When they finally began their search, they stumbled upon a heart-wrenching scene that left them shattered. To their astonishment, Capitan had made his way to the graveyard where Miguel was laid to rest, standing vigil at his owner's gravesite. Capitan lay atop Miguel's grave as if seeking solace amidst the cold earth. Witnessing this poignant display, Miguel's parents were deeply moved. His father attempted to coax Capitan home by attaching a collar, but the loyal dog hesitated, signaling his reluctance to leave Miguel's final resting place. Despite the family's persistent efforts, they were unable to persuade Capitan to leave the gravesite of his beloved former owner. Miguel's mother managed to briefly carry him back home, but Capitan soon broke free and returned to the gravesite. His deep grief was palpable, and he seemed resolute in his decision to remain by Miguel's side. Recognizing Capitan's profound attachment, the family concluded that he was not yet ready to leave his beloved owner's resting place. They hoped that with time, Capitan might choose to return home on his own terms. Understanding this, the family decided to allow Capitan to stay at the cemetery. They faithfully visited Miguel's grave each day, bringing food and water for Capitan. Gratefully accepting these offerings, Capitan would then return to lay on the grave, maintaining his steadfast vigil. Despite appearing weary and lonely, he showed no desire to leave the cemetery. This unique companionship endured over the years. At times, Capitan would wander off to retrieve a stick, placing it atop the grave, perhaps a poignant attempt to engage in a game of fetch with his departed owner. However, These gestures remained unfulfilled, highlighting the depth of Capitan's unwavering loyalty and love for Miguel. As time went on, Capitan began to show signs of aging, with his once vibrant coat turning gray and his mobility declining. Despite these changes, he seemed content to remain stationary, often choosing to sit rather than wander. Each day when Miguel's family visited, Capitan would greet them with a wagging tail and a hearty bark of greeting. He would sit by their side, allowing them to pet him and shower him with affection. Although the idea of bringing Capitan home had long been abandoned, Miguel's family found comfort in the companionship he provided in their visits. As Capitan continued to age, his health began to deteriorate. Despite his limitations, he continued to greet Miguel's family with the same joy, though his vision faded and mobility became increasingly challenging. Concerned for his well-being, Miguel's family called a veterinarian for an evaluation. After conducting tests, the vet determined that Capitan was suffering from kidney failure, a condition for which there was no effective treatment. Faced with the difficult decision to end his suffering, Miguel's family made arrangements for the vet to return the next day to peacefully euthanize Capitan. They allowed him to spend one final night in the cemetery, close to Miguel's resting place. The morning brought a tragic turn of events that would deeply affect all involved, plunging them into sorrow. Miguel's mother arrived early at the cemetery, intending to spend a final hour with Capitan before the difficult decision had to be made. However, as she approached the grave, a chilling realization dawned on her. Capitan appeared to be peacefully asleep, his usual stillness unsettling. Despite his age and frailty, Capitan would typically rouse himself and greet approaching visitors. The heartbreaking truth became clear as Miguel's mother cautiously approached the gravesite. Overwhelmed with grief, she broke down in tears. Capitan had passed away during the night, his ailments taking their toll before the vet's scheduled intervention. The loyal dog, who had faithfully watched over his owner's resting place for over a decade, had found peace, reuniting with Miguel once more. Amidst her grief, the tears that streamed from Miguel's mother's eyes held a mixture of sorrow and, to some extent, relief. The unbreakable bond between her son and Capitan was palpable, a connection that transcended their lives and even death. Capitan found his final resting place in a small grave above Miguel's, allowing them to reunite in eternity. The family held a modest service to honor Capitan's unwavering loyalty and affection, despite losing his master 12 years earlier. This touching tale culminates with Capitan being laid to rest in a comforting blanket, once again seated atop his beloved owner. Fortunately, Capitan's story spread, elevating him to local celebrity status. As a tribute to his eternal faithfulness, the city erected a beautiful memorial in Capitan's honor. This gesture ensured that the memory of Capitan, one of the most loyal dogs in the world, would endure in people's hearts and minds, an enduring symbol of unwavering devotion.